Okay, hello. Welcome to Let Me Reintroduce Myself. I am not in my normal podcast studio, if you haven't noticed. For those who have seen a little sneak peek of my podcast studio, I am not there at the moment, which goes in today's episode, which is called Overcoming Setbacks, getting back up after feeling lost, defeated, or even hurt. The reason why I'm actually not in my podcast is because due to my lack of planning, I did not have my camera batteries charged. I also didn't have my ring light charged. There was just so many issues that was going on in that moment. And so I had to wrap it up, take it home. And I felt so just like defeated. And for a moment, I was just having some moments of self-doubt. And I realized, I was like, okay, no, this is still happening. We're still doing this episode tonight because I have a deadline. And I told everyone that this podcast was going to release Monday, October 28th. And I'm keeping that promise. But it does go a little bit into today's episode, which is Overcoming Setbacks. I just get a little brief synopsis of Let Me Introduce Myself and what this podcast is essentially about. If you are in the season of rebranding or just overcoming the programs and the conditioning that you were placed with as a kid, and you are in the midst of healing and loving yourself and just up-leveling your life in general, then this is the podcast for you. Just to let everyone know, this is a journey. It is not a destination. I'm still overcoming doubts and trials and overcoming different programs and conditioning that have been placed upon me too as a kid. So with that being said, I am actually in the process of rebirth and rebranding myself. Is rebirth, transformation, renewal, and becoming the best version of yourself, essentially, whatever that looks like. And again, that is a journey, not a destination. So we are all on this journey together, and I encourage you to listen with an open heart and open mind, and to love yourself while you are evolving and transforming, because I think that's one of the most important pieces to all of this, is loving yourself while you are working towards becoming a better you. And sometimes we can get a little down when it comes to that, and we are so hard on ourselves and we're so impatient with ourselves, and sometimes we forget to love the current version of ourselves. But without loving the current version of ourselves, how exactly do we really expect to get to the place that we want to go by criticizing ourselves or shaming ourselves or guilting ourselves into trying to force ourselves to be someone that we're just not yet? Again, welcome to Let Me Reintroduce Myself. I'm so happy you guys are all here. And this is a community, a beautiful community that we are creating. I'm still thinking about names for this community. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear your suggestions for naming this amazing community. Now, without further ado, I did have a script, but I'm going to be so honest. I started talking and following the script in the bullet points, and I did not like it. I'm such just like a yapper from the heart, so I am going to yap from the heart. I'm going to test out some different styles, but for this podcast episode at least, just to kind of give you some context, I think we all have experienced hurdles and have experienced setbacks in our life, and it really depends on our perspective. Sometimes we can look at setbacks or adversity in our life as something negative. And can it be negative? Yes. However, it does not need to stay negative in your perspective. And I say this because I think because we're such visual creatures, and sometimes we are just looking out to our reality, looking for external validation of what's happening and what's happening to us, that we take it so personal. And sometimes we look at things in life as this is happening to me. However, it is such an important mindset shift to look at things from the perspective of this is happening for me, not happening to me. I think that was one of the biggest game changers in my healing journey was acceptance. Accepting things as they are, loving things as they are, because, and this goes to say about my favorite Stoic phrase, which is amor fati. And amor fati is in Latin for to love one's fate. And the reason why I love this saying so much, I actually even have it tattooed on my wrist. Amor fati. I have that tattooed on my wrist, but it is just literally something I live by. It is a reminder to love one's fate, to love and to accept one's fate. No matter what happens to you, whatever happens or whatever gets thrown your way, you will always learn something from it. Sometimes things in life happens to us, whether it's a blessing or it is simply a lesson. Now, of course, whenever we're going through something very trivial and very rough in our life, that's not something usually we want to hear. But I encourage you to open your heart and to open your mind and to remember that things are always happening for you, not to you. And a lot of the times, we can create certain situations in our life. So if we are in a negative spiral in our life, and that is all we're focused on, we're ruminating on all the bad things, that in return will always continue to come back to us. But that's why I say I encourage you to look at things from a different perspective. At the end of the day, life is perspective. My perspective will be different from yours. Yours will be different from mine, from your neighbor, from your peer, whatever. We are all living in our own consciousness, and our own consciousness is our own perspective. When I say remember to love one's fate, it's just to accept everything that comes to you, and to also be careful about how you are defining things and labeling things in your life. So for example, last year, I'm going to go into a little bit of a story time of last year. Last year for me was extremely rough, and it even carried into this year. I would even say last year to this year was an extremely terrible year for me. And I mean, I had so much things happen. I was going through a divorce. I was going through a breakup. I was going through a job loss, layoff in the tech industry. I also had my car stolen, and I also lost friends that I held dearly. And when I tell you all those things happening within a span of 6 months, yeah, let me just say it was extremely rough. Very, very rough. And don't get me wrong, yes, I had my depressive moments, my depressive phases, actually, and still overcoming all of that, I guess you could say, trauma. However, I kind of want to just go into the time when I got my car stolen. I had gotten the call from the police, and they had called me, and they were like, "Hey, we tried coming to your old apartment, but yeah, we found your car." And I had a Hyundai at that time, so at this time, I mean, I think it's still occurring. Hyundai is getting stolen and stuff, but I looked down at my balcony, and I was like, "Yep, my car is gone." And so they had stole my car, the Kia boys or whatever, honestly, because you can steal Kias and Hyundais with just a screwdriver. Anyways, I had looked down. I was like, okay, yeah, my car is stolen. And for a moment, again, I was already going through my healing journey. I was already going through my healing work and being very careful with how I viewed circumstances that happened. I just remember taking a very long breath and okay, all right, our car just got stolen. I remember just laughing. I was like, okay, that's great. I don't know if that was exactly my words, but I remember just kind of looking at the situation like, this is just hilarious. All right, well, I guess we're gonna have to figure out something else. Um, and and also when I got laid off last year too, I remember getting the invite to the meeting, and it was a pre-recorded meeting, I'm assuming, and just them telling a bunch of people that, yeah, you guys are getting laid off, the company, you know, and I'm sure if you work in tech or whatever, you can relate because they had laid off around almost 400,000 tech workers in the past few years. But I remember just getting that call and I was just like, or getting into that meeting, I was like, wow, okay, I just got laid off from what I thought was my dream job. But it's funny because I was literally crying on my floor the day before that, just hating my job. I remember just like hating it. Like I didn't want to do it anymore. And then I got that meeting. I was like, wow, that's so funny how things work out. I also was not a huge fan of my car either. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great, got me around, it was nice. Um, but it wasn't my dream car. However, I, I say this because sometimes things happen and we have two choices. Because one, it's already happened. You cannot change the past, but you can have a say so in the future by the words you speak, by how you're reacting to certain circumstances and situations in your life, and you have control over your present. So in those moments, I either could have went into an extreme depression, which I did, don't get me wrong. I slightly did, but I did not ruminate. I feel like there is a difference in different types of depressions. I was not ruminating, and I also did not choose to look at the situation in the eyes of woe is me. Wow, this is just happening to me. Everything sucks and my life is shit. I did not say any of those things and I didn't feel that way. All I remember thinking was, damn, this sucks. However, I know that this is not the end. I know something else is coming. And I know that there's something better out there for me. And so I just remember keep holding that. I was like, I know something else is coming. We're going to figure this out. There's a reason for this. There's a reason that I lost my job. There's a reason why I got my car stolen. There must be a reason for me, for my benefit. I never looked at it as, dang, this God took this away from me. God doesn't want me to be financially stable. God doesn't want me to have the things that I need in life. I never looked at it that way. Like, oh my God, like I'm having things taken away from me. I'm going to struggle. No, I didn't look at it like that. But sometimes people do. And I understand why. Because again, like losing a job, especially when you have all these bills to pay or, things that you're responsible for, that's extremely scary. And I wasn't prepared for it. So I only say this to say is that getting back up after feeling lost and defeated, you have a choice. You always have a choice. You can either ruminate, sit in it, feel like shit, and think, dang, the world is just out to get me. There's nothing that I can do. I will stay in this situation forever. Woe is me. My life is terrible. Everything bad is always happening to me. And I don't even like saying that in this podcast, actually. I don't even like to say those words. But I'm just giving you an example. You have two choices. You always have the choice of choosing to look at things with in the eyes of the glass half full or the glass half empty. It is your choice. You always have a choice. And I say this because your reality always will reflect how you feel in the words you speak and what you believe. So if you believe that bad things are always happening to you, that is exactly what is going to continue to come to you. But if you change your mindset, if you open your heart and you sit with it and believe that, okay, things are happening for my benefit. This obviously was not the right job for me. This obviously wasn't the right relationship for me. The universe has something better for me, something better than I can even imagine. Better than I can imagine. And if you look at things with in the eyes of that perspective, and you hold that state, and you don't look to reality to prove it to you, like, okay, I'm feeling this way, I'm saying these things, now where is it? Now where is that next relationship? Now where is that job? Or where is the next opportunity coming from? No. That's not what I mean. You need to hold the state. Hold that energy state of, this is happening for me. Good things are coming to me. You know, my life is evolving. It's going upwards. You know, opportunities are flowing to me now. My life is only progressing in the better way, in a better way. And if you hold that state, despite what is going on around you physically, things will change. I guarantee it. It may not be in the timeline that you need it, but you will be okay. But if you continue to ruminate and stay stuck in how much things suck for you, it will only prolong it. It'll only prolong it. And that's why I say you have a choice. This situation already occurred, whether it was the job loss, a breakup, a loss of an opportunity, whatever the case is, a friendship ending, it already happened. Close the chapter and decide, how do you want to feel in this next moment? Do you want to ruminate on what you lost and what you are lacking, or do you want to focus and feel good? Because at the end of the day, you're only sad because of what you think you lost. But I invite you to change your perspective. Did you lose something? Or is it being replaced with something better for you? I invite you to, again, think about that. Did you really lose something? Or is that thing being replaced with something better for you? Okay? It goes back down to your beliefs. If you believe that everything is always working out for you and things are always working in your favor, you don't lose things. You don't lose people. Sometimes people or things or situations are in our life for a season to teach us something, to prepare us for something. So, getting back up after feeling lost, defeated, hurt, I invite you to reflect on those questions. How is it that I want to feel? What can I learn from this situation? I highly encourage journaling and meditation. I do not recommend doing things out of impulse. Let's say you get out of a relationship and you're hurt, and the next thing you want to do is just immediately hop into a new relationship or find someone to validate you. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand how that feels. And I have done that before. You feel lost, you feel hurt, you feel like your security has been taken away. This person validated you maybe in certain ways, and you want to go feel validated. You need your ego stroked. I understand that. However, I do invite all of us to, and I'm not talking about timelines here. I'm not telling you need to wait 2 years before even thinking about, talking to someone. That is not what I'm telling you here. Everyone heals according to their own timeline. Maybe you heal in a month. Maybe you heal in 2 months. Maybe you heal in 7 days. I don't know. But what I'm telling you is just to not act out of impulsivity only because of what happened. So I encourage you, don't get into a new relationship because you're hurt, if that makes sense. Get into a new relationship because you're ready to love someone. You're ready to be loved, and you deserve that, and you want to give that to someone in a healthy way, not because you're looking for someone to satisfy your lack of love for yourself. Anyways, all I'm saying is just to sit with yourself for a moment. Sit with yourself and understand what just happened and what you can learn from the situation. There's always something that you can learn from a situation. And I encourage you to do that today, to journal and to meditate and to understand what had just happened. And in the course of getting back up, I say meditate on it for some days and think about what it is that you want next. Let's say you lost your job or you lost an opportunity. Okay, how can you get into a new situation? How can you position yourself to be in a new situation where you're granted or presented a new opportunity? But that is why I say sit with yourself first. Meditate, journal, feel all the emotions of what you lost, quote unquote lost, because I don't want you to go into the next situation feeling like you need that. So for example, I used the analogy of don't go into a relationship thinking that it's going to heal you from your last. And same thing, don't go into a new job or a job interview, whatever the case is, expecting them to heal that trauma of you getting something, or you getting laid off, or you getting fired, or you just no longer having the last. What I'm trying to say here is to pay attention to your energy. What energy are you putting out? Are you going into situations in desperation, or are you going into situations out of alignment? So I say whatever moves you do make next, let it be out of alignment, not desperation. Yeah, so that's what I'm really trying to say here. So again, to just recap, is to reflect, sit with yourself, watch the words you speak, and watch your thoughts that you think, your beliefs about the situation, and to understand that this is happening for you, not to you. Then also to not act out of impulsivity, and to sit with yourself and to actually think, what is it that I want next? What is it that will align with me in my next chapter of life? And I say that because you'll go into the situation a lot more clear. You'll go into it with a renewed sense of energy versus desperation. Like, oh my gosh, I need to get this new job because I got laid off and I'm scared and I'm hurting, and I need someone to just hire. Now, I'm not telling you how to think because I've been in that situation too. And everyone's situations are different. However, I just say, again, not to go into a situation based off of impulsivity and out of desperation. So, getting back up after feeling lost and defeated, I suggest, leaning on your loved ones for support, whether that's your friends, family, if it's a church group or, a community group, whatever the case is to lean on others for support if that's what you need. Talk to people about how you're feeling, and also to remember to talk and sit with yourself, understand how you feel, and what do you want to happen next. And again, it is not the end, it is a journey. So whatever it is that you feel like you lost, you did not. Another tip that I do to overcome setbacks and is to listen to a lot of motivational podcasts as you are now, reading lots of books, going for walks. I am in the gym daily, or I'm doing some kind of yoga or meditation. Is to just really pay attention and to start to connect your mind and body and soul together. So, whether that's just taking care of your health, taking care of your mental state, journaling, this is something that I recommend heavily, is to just spend as much quality time with yourself versus doing things that are not really beneficial for your body, your mind, your spirit. So, for example, if you just got out of a relationship, you lost a relationship, whatever the case is, I don't recommend doing things like getting drunk or going out partying or, doing very low vibrational activities, just because I think it might make you feel worse. And that goes back to the point of doing things out of impulsivity. And it sucks sometimes. And it is okay to acknowledge that this moment in your life sucks. It's okay. But I just encourage you not to stay in it. Not to stay in it, and to realize that things will get better. And just being very firm in your affirmations. Things are always working out for me. Everything is working out in my favor. And to just remember those things in these times of, pain and loss and defeat. However, you do not have to accept defeat. I feel like accepting defeat is also a state that you choose. So it's not over until you say it is. So I just encourage you guys to be gentle with yourself and to remember that things are always in progression. The only thing that is constant is change. So no matter where you are right now in your journey and overcoming hardships and setbacks, is to just move. I think that's probably one of the I would say, if you take anything away from this, is to just move forward, make the decision that will benefit you. Get your head right, clear your mind, clear your heart and spirit, sit with yourself, let it feel all the emotions, and then start replacing those negative emotions with new and positive ones. What is it that you want to create? And start making a plan of action of completing that. So that is all I have for you for today. Again, for my next episode, I will be back in the podcast studio with my mic and everything. But as of today, it's a little unorthodox, but it is the first episode, so I'm giving myself grace as well. However, I am doing what I said I was going to do, and this podcast will be released on Monday, October 28th, 2024. So I appreciate you guys for listening. You can follow me on social media, Asia Romeria or LMRM Podcast. And I will see you guys in the next episode.